Okay, so like I was saying, do not go with scalpers because no matter how good the deal is, you are not prepared for how unprepared you are. What do I mean by this?
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
Okay, so a quick preference. I have been like staying at my parents' house for like the last 3 weeks because mostly because I had to do some dog sitting, but also I stayed an extra week because I'm gonna go to Thanksgiving with my grandmother tomorrow.
Yeah,
Nice and wholesome.
The murderous dog that has like mastered the dark Hado.
Yeah, basically, the one who can like zero to death touch you with his fucking front teeth. It's fine, but before I left, I actually ordered a new graphics card for my computer. So I've been meaning to like upgrade for the longest fucking time because I have like a really dinky setup that I bought for like $1,000 like 10 years ago. Just when I got out of college to make it feel better. I always told myself I was going to upgrade. I never fucking did. So I'm just sitting here looking through like graphics card, and then the whole, the crypto boom and all that shit came out. And I'm like, oh man, I should have updated before this pandemic hit. Fuck. But anyway, so I'm just like, the day before I leave, I'm talking to my older brother, and he's like flexing his whole new rig he's got, alright? He's like, oh man, I built this myself, and I got this with my doctor. And I was like, you do know those like graphics cards aren't worth like $3,000 a piece, right? I was like, oh yeah, it turns out I have a friend who works at Newegg who just scalps these things and get these for me at a decent price. And I'm like, huh? You know a scalper? He's like, yeah, do you want a new graphics card? And I'm like, what do you got? Oh, we got this one with like, he just like pulls out his phone. Like it's and it's not even his regular phone. It's like this, it's like a second cell phone. And I'm like, I'm not questioning it right now.
No,
his phone's on the table. He just pulls one from his pocket. And I'm like, okay, we're doing this. And he calls him, and he's like, yo, my brother's interested in a video card. Do you have it? And he's like, oh, yeah, I have this last one with a 3080 Ti left in stock. Do you want it? And it's like, oh, and then he tells me, and I'm like, yeah, I do. Because I'm like, I just had, like, my eyes on this rinky-dinky, like Quadro, like, that was going to be, like, around, like, 12,000. It was actually supposed to be worth less, but, like, on the market, it's super inflated because But I'm totally, oh shit, a 3080 Ti is better. Shit, yeah, give it to me. And my brother says, oh yeah, okay, so get that from my brother. I pay him like $1,800. Like, it was like $15,000. It was a normal price, and then he just gave it another $300 markup just because, scalpers.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. So, I'm sitting there and I'm waiting. And it goes to my brother's house while I'm babysitting the dog. I'm babysitting Corky. And my brother told me, he's like, yo, this looks different from what I got from this guy. But he tests it out and he made sure it works fucking super good. He's like, yo, bro, what the fuck? You got a better thing than I did. Man, my scalper likes you. And I'm like, okay. So, my brother, when he built his computer, he never got rid of his old one, which still has a pretty decent graphics card. He didn't want to sell it to me because he's using it for Ethereum mining, while he's using his new rig to make, like, a game that, like, sells NFTs. I get a fucking brain hemorrhage thinking about it, but I'm like, okay, whatever.
Oh, so he's the enemy. I got you.
Yes, my brother is now the enemy. But even despite this, my brother being the enemy, he basically just confirmed to me that not only does my graphics card work, it works better than the one he has right now. And my brother's cool. He's willing to give it to me because he understands, hey, I want to learn like 3D graphics and stuff. Because trying to run 3D graphics on my computer on Blender is fucking AIDS. Because I can't run it. But like, I have this strong ass fucking video card. I'm so excited. I asked my dad to pick it up because he goes to visit my brother's house on his way to work. He just brings me back like my medication and my new graphics card. I have what the fuck is it called? It's called an Oros Master. It's a GeForce RTX 3080 Ti. This fucker is so goddamn fat. It actually cannot fit in my rinky-dink old PC.
Oh, it can't fit in your tower?
It can't fit in my tower.
Well, okay. Luckily, that is pretty manageable.
You'd think so here's the thing. I have like two issues where I was like, okay, I'm just gonna move some of my drives and I'll just bring it to the bottom part of the tower and then it'll fit. It turns out that we're like my gigabyte motherboard is kind of old. I got it like 10 years ago, of course.
Mm.
The thing is so big, if you put it on the bottom TI slot, it actually covers the entirety of like the pins on the bottom that like connect to like the tower, you know, where the power button goes, where the USB slots goes, right, where the speaker thing. So like that, I can't put it there because it covers that. I can't put it on the top PCIe slot because not only does the you know back just hit the fucking the hard drives, it actually also dislodges it actually like collides with the heatsink because it's so wide.
So the issue is not necessarily with your tower, but with your motherboard.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, the tower is also a big thing because like even if I like move the drives out of the way, it actually is just so tight of a squeeze. You can actually see like the back end rubbing against like the metal plating housing, and I'm like, oh no, that it's yeah. So I'm gonna like scroll through because like I sent pictures of this like earlier to like my D&D group, and it's just the comparison of what I have to work with is fucking bonkers. Oh shit! No, shut the fuck up. That was my alarm.
Okay. You can always try and poke Zach. He's pretty good with these things.
Yeah, no, I mean, to be honest with you, I'm like, this is just kind of like what happens when you like decide to upgrade. Yeah. Although like again, I had no idea what like graphics card I was getting. All I knew was it had a 3080 Ti chipset. This thing is so big. I've never seen this before. I didn't think we got to this. This thing requires like 3 power connections to run. Yeah. So like my old graphics card, it didn't require any power because it was pretty low end. I'm like, okay. And like before I've seen 1. If you were lucky, maybe you had 2. This shit requires 3. My power supply does not even have 3 separate terminals for that.
What in the shit have you gotten yourself into?
I don't know, but like I already spent $2,000 and I ain't no fucking quitter.
Oh yeah, hell! Like at this point, it's personal. Like you're in it for the long haul.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm like, oh. So is this what we're doing now? Okay, fine. I guess I'm just gonna cry, but I'm gonna figure this out. So I actually like sat down, and I'm going to like I'm going to like actually I picked up a bunch of parts. I'm still iffy on the tower. Oh, by the way, the thing about my tower, not only is it old, there's no there's no like glass paneling. It's just straight like white metal. I covered it in fucking Anarchy Dreamer stickers because it's me. But like, fucking, I'm doing this and like I realize as I'm putting this in, there's like an LCD screen on the fucking graphics card. It's so goddamn big. Apparently, it's used to tell you like some data about it, like how fast it's spinning, what the temperature is inside of the thing. Oh my Even God. Has little custom GIFs on it, and I'm like, okay, I think I need like a new fucking like a new tower just to begin with.
Just so you can see the screen.
Yeah. So even if I could fit it in and close it. Like, it's just gonna be glowing purple and all these neon colors and I can't even see inside it.
Like, so, the computer that my friend Simon built that we crowdfunded for me, which, again, I'm extremely thankful for. That one has, like, a transparent side to it. But it's, like, really unfortunate because I put it in, like, a corner. So it's like I can't see all of the glowy bits and everything that's in it. So it's like that's a little waste, but
Yeah.
But you have had a goddamn like so like this is the reason why I am so reluctant to upgrade things in my computer, because it's either the easiest thing in the fucking world, or it is goddamn like nuclear science.
Oh yeah.
Because sometimes it just clicks, and other times you have to replace one to literally everything.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So, I just sent you a photo of what I were doing, and like again, because like I saw like my brother has like a tower that you can see inside. I saw this thing. The graphics card that my brother had, I thought that's what I was getting. It wasn't nearly as fat as this fucker right here.
Yeah, that is a juicy boy. That's actually one of those that I've been looking for.
I know! It's a big boy! You put it up on stream if you want, because it's so goddamn fat! It's like those memes you see where it's like shit ain't gonna fit, and you're right. It didn't fit when I moved like the drives downward. It was still scraping up against like the metal parts that would hold it. And you can actually see the side. It was actually like bumping up against like the RAM and the heat sink.
Like it's one of those things where I'm sitting here like I'm basically doing the Homer Simpson tucking in my collar when I hit it. But then you talk to someone who like again my friend Simon who is like building these things on the daily, and for him like he will fucking just overhand chuck that mother into the fucking like tower. Like it is goddamn wild how like sometimes they like care so little about these super expensive things, but here we are.
It comes to a point where you have to decide what you're willing to put up with, and it comes to a point where I'm like, I don't care anymore. The only reason I'm not like trying to like square peg in a round hole this bullshit is because like well, one, like on the bottom pins, like I need those because like if I can't, then I can't turn on my computer. But also, I'm very particular. I have this little like BIOS speaker at the bottom. It's not featured here, but like I have been through so much shit with this computer. If I didn't have that little speaker like binging every time I had a problem, I wouldn't have been able to fix my computer. So if I have to get rid of that, it is literally my lifeline. I cannot like understate how good a little BIOS speaker is. Those little fucking beeps that tell you what the fuck's wrong with your computer has made like building so much easier. Like I built more expensive things before in the past. This is like my old 8-year-old baby, 10-year-old baby. Like you can actually see like the thing I have before is this little AMD W5100. This little Fire Pro. This little dinky baby. And this fucking replacement. There's like...
That's your graphics card?
Yeah, they're both my graphics cards!
Oh my god, that's so tiny!
This is what I've been working with this entire fucking time.
This looks like some of the fucking shit you would have in a laptop!
I know! Listen, I was really cheap, and I told myself, this is just going to last me until I have enough money to buy a new graphics card, and then I just got really lazy and never upgraded.
Homie, this is fucking like that fucking me. You versus the dude she tells you not to worry about.
I know! That is literally what was happening. Okay, I'm a upgrade. I'm gonna get me a big boy, and I look at this and I'm like, why the fuck are there 3 power sockets here? My power supply can only, like, give me 2. I actually had to look this up because this is, like, new, and most power supplies don't have 3 ports for a graphics card. What ends up happening is, like, you have... Like, they tell you if there's 2, you should never, under any circumstances, connect one Y cable to the same, with both slots to the same graphics card. They tell you That's not okay if it only has 2 slots. Because this one has 3, you're supposed to put one Y cable and one regular cable.
Sweet merciful God.
I'm like, what the fuck am I getting myself into? But you know what? It's fine. I'm just sitting here. I'm like, okay, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this right. So I'm going through and I'm building myself a new PC from scratch just because, like, you know what? I'm not gonna worry. I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna get myself some big beefy thing and I'm gonna upload Blender. I'm gonna stick Nicolas Cage's cage on a cube and it will not fucking crash and set my tower on fire. Little baby card. You have baby card.
At this point, it's just about like you take your tower in one hand, you take your GeForce RTX there in the other one, you kick down the door to a computer shop, hand them both, and go fix it, and then leave. I do have an associate's degree in IT. This is something I had to do for my degree. I'm like, seriously?
Yeah, it is. I am too fucking stubborn to go somewhere because I know what to do. I'm just in this predicament because a scalper told me, hey, Cloudy, you want a 3080 Ti? And I'm like, do I? And then he hands me this monstrosity, and I'm like,
bro, I might need to get a hold of that scalper too. God damn.
But yeah, that's kind of just been like the majority of my week. Everything else has been like preparing for Thanksgiving and taking care of Corky. My parents are back. Oh. We got like fat ass mutant avocados that we got from our tree over there, but that's a different story.
Oh yeah, I saw a picture of that. That thing was fucking huge.
Yeah, like I mean, like we don't have to put it on screen, but like our family, we have like in the mountains, we have like a little grove of fruit trees all over the house. We've got like coconuts, guayabas, lemons, more coconuts, and like a couple avocado trees. And they either come in 2 flavors, either big fat booty bitches or really long motherfuckers. Like I got the long motherfuckers last year. I have to like look through like my old messages with like Zach and Emily to like see where the long ones are. I'll show you those later. But every time my parents go back to Puerto Rico, they always come back with these freakish avocados. And I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah.
These freakish avocados.
Freakish avocados. Fucking hell. But yeah, that's been my week. That has been I'm now in a stubborn quest to build a computer. If you see me make a video about it in the vein of Kadikarus, the Super Eye Patch Wolf, stay updated.
I fully expect for this to be like a running thing alongside the Devil May Cry thing, where it's just every time we have a new podcast, you tell us about Devil May Cry, Dungeons and Dragons, and your computer building adventure.
Oh yeah. Oh, also I asked my dad to bring back Devil May Cry, and he brought me back the Attack on Titan game for some reason. Because the thing I thought it was actually Attack on Titan. So, all right.
You guys are not very good at this, are you?
No, it's an actual problem. So I asked my dad, okay, it's probably in the Bloodborne case, so Dad, can you bring me Bloodborne? And I'm like, okay, sure. And I open it up, and it's like this Attack on Titan game for the PS4, and I'm like, when did I? Oh wait, now I remember. It's because it was already in the PS4 when I got it. Okay.
God fucking damn it, Clown.
I'm like,
it costs you nothing to put it back in its original case.
Okay, Lasse, literal barbarian. Okay, listen, I promise you, after this week, I'm going to drive my way back down to my old house, okay? I'm gonna go there, I am going to personally organize, I'll take pictures to prove it. This is this is actually way more embarrassing than I was expecting.
This is fucking, like, I want you to, the moment you step out of your car, just turn your phone on, put it in a breast pocket, and turn it into a found footage horror flick that it deserves to be.
Oh yeah, it's just gonna be like, oh, okay, so here's me organizing. Here's the damage. I'm gonna open up like Grand Theft Auto, and it's gonna be like The Witcher 3 or some shit.
And then, like, the shocking horror turn at the end is that your abuela hits you with a chachancla, or whatever it's called.
Chancla. I mean, like, she could, but I did tell you, my grandmother's the one who sleeps with a machete next to her bed.
That's true. I forgot.
Specifically, so if someone breaks into her room, she's just gonna whack them. She doesn't give a shit. I bought this stupid oversized GPU, the whole thing, and I'm stubborn. I'm determined to just get an entire new PC around this junky piece of shit. What gives this correct box too hard?
God damn it. Well, okay,
yeah.
So that's been your week. I can tell.
Yeah, that's been my week. How has your week been, my friend? Tell me something a lot less painful than what I've gone through.
Oh, please. I can't. I've been horizontal. I've had so we didn't have a podcast last week because I was sick, and you were also coming down with something here. But like, so I've had a cold, and not a like a typical cold. Like typically when you have a cold, you're like drained and your nose is blocked and runny nose and you're coughing up a storm. I only had the cough and a general discomfort in my body, but the cough was so severe that I could not sleep. Like every time that you were like laying down, coughing fits. And have you ever tried where you're having like so much coughing that you feel like you're about to throw up?
Oh yeah, I've had that before. It is painful.
Yeah, I had that. So obviously the brain immediately goes to, we need to check for COVID. So I got a test done and nope, there was no COVID. It's just been the worst fucking like cough or anything that I've ever had. So I decided to try and get myself some cough syrup. I haven't had that since I was like a little kid. As a kid, I actually had bronchitis, I think it was. Like, so I had to, like, a lot of coughing. And so
did I.
Sick! Bronchitis, bro! So I go to the drugstore and I'm like, hey, do you have anything against cough? And she goes, is it like a wet cough or dry cough? And I go, dry cough. And she's like reaching for something, and the moment like the sentence dry cough has left my mouth, she just 180 and looks at me dead in the eye. I'm like, I've been tested, it's not COVID. Okay. And then she like goes and gets this cough syrup. Again, I haven't had cough syrup in forever. Shit tastes like candy, which is fucking wild to me. It tastes like that sort of liquor you can get where it's just basically licorice. Well, I can understand that in America you have what we in Denmark call beach baby boy licorice. But and that's what this tastes like. In Denmark, we have the real licorice that you Americans apparently can't handle. So I try, and so I take some of that before bed, and it is a long time since I've been knocked that much on my ass. I was fucking out cold. I think I slept 11 hours or something.
Oh yeah.
I can understand that in America you also you sometimes use a cough syrup as a
sleeping aid, yeah,
or an alcohol replacement.
So do you know what lean is, Lasse?
I've heard it
cough
before.
Syrup and Sprite.
There you go.
Yeah.
That is wild to me, but then again, I remember that you have that whole you need to be 21 to buy alcohol thing, so it suddenly makes sense. That's been going on. Also, I have so I think the last podcast where my symptoms was just starting to show, I had just been at a job interview, and since then I have been like the prettiest girl at the ball, where several handsome bachelors has come up and asked me for a dance, because not only did these guys want to hire me. They want to hire me on like a half a year project contract, which basically means that like you're there for a limited time, like half a year, and then unless something pops up, goodbye. It was nice knowing you. But it's half a year work, so woo. So I'm like, that sounds cool, and it'll basically just be video editing. They were so impressed with what I did. They was like, okay, we might actually put some more on you because you seem to know your shit. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. And then as I'm laying in my bed and like I'm in a fume state where I can't really tell reality from fiction, I get another call, and it's a dude who wants me to work in Barcelona.
Ooh.
For a little unknown company. Don't know if you heard about it. It's called Google. Where I'm a little and then as he's talking, I put it on speaker and I'm like real quick looking at my phone like Google Barcelona, no results. But the thing is, like these people, like all these calls I'm getting is because on the Danish job archives, you can, if you are a registered company in good standing, you can go in and you can look at this archive and then see, oh, we need a graphic designer, and then they can browse through graphic designers. So, like this person who claims to be working, be sent from Google, is apparently above board, but again, I can't see any fucking Google in Barcelona. But plus, I'm not gonna move to fucking Barcelona.
I mean, you don't want to say hi to Speed Angel?
You know what? That would actually be pretty cool. But so I can now say without any like form of humor or joking that I have declined a job from Google. And then today, before the podcast, remember how I worked for that $1 million company to make the brand guide for this bike?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they contacted me. I was like, hey, do you want a job? And the thing there is that they want me to work 20 hours. So a normal work day in Denmark is 37. A normal work week is 37 hours a week. And so they could only offer me 20. And then the idea is that then your union is going to pitch in with the rest of the amount of the money. So you reach, like a salary that you can live off of. So right now it is, do I take the job for this really exciting, cool company with the bikes that I've helped build up, on the chance that I might get like a real big time job afterwards, because that is the plan. The whole thing is whether or not I can, raise the sales or anything. Or do I play it safe and pick this place that will only offer me half a year work? And I'm like, oh, which one do I choose or something? So that's been confusing. Luckily I have a call with the job office tomorrow where I can hopefully find out more. So that's been exciting. It like nothing makes you feel more like valued than when you have not even been like without a job for a month and you already gotten 3 job offers of 3 different companies that headhunted you.
I mean, like, again, you have been through the ringer, you've gone through so much shit, but I'm, like, really proud to hear that, like, hey, Mr. Lasse, you want to come over here? You're kind of being poached right now, and that's rather flattering.
It is. Again, like I said, I feel like the prettiest girl at the ball. But I'll probably
okay. But no, don't listen to Alice.
But so in more, like fun, nerdy things, and something that I actually wanted to talk to you about, because I remember like thinking about it when I was playing it, is while I was saying, I was like, okay, I need to do something, and there wasn't really anything that caught me on my PC, and the expansion for Final Fantasy 14 has been postponed, so it's like there's this room of like, okay, I need something to play. And then I saw that the Miles Morales game for the PS4 was on offer for like Friday or something. And so I loved the Spider-Man game for the PS4, so I like, let me check this out. And the thing about Miles Morales is that he is, of course, of a black dad and a Hispanic mother, and
Puerto Rican specifically.
Puerto Rican. I need to stress, I don't know anything about this, because like in Denmark we don't have anything to do with like Hispanic people. So, like, at all. There's next to no Hispanic people in Denmark. So I found it really interesting that, like, when Miles and his mom would be talking, or sometimes when he's just, like, monologuing to himself, every now and again he would slip into Puerto Rican. And I was a little interested in, because like, for those of you who don't know, you're also Hispanic, and I was just like, so obviously I'm Danish, but in Danish language, a lot of the, like a T-shirt, for example, or toast, those words are the same in English and Danish. So the transition of us speaking English is pretty easy. But you as a Hispanic person, do you ever like slip into Hispanic, either when you're talking, like when you're exclaiming something, or when you're thinking? Sometimes does it come up in Puerto Rican or anything like that?
Oh yeah, definitely, all the time.
Okay.
So growing up in like an Hispanic household in America, where like the world around you speaks English, so you got to learn how to speak, but like your family all speaks Spanish, so you kind of just speak Spanish to them. You kind of get in this weird, we call it Spanglish, where like you kind of just has both, you kind of speak English and Spanish at times. Like, okay, it's like really hard for my brain to do. I can't just like switch on and off when I'm talking to like, say, my friends in English, because I don't really speak with them in English. It's hard for me to just force Spanish out of me. But like, I see my grandmother, I'm like, oh mamila, ¿cómo estás? ¿Qué quieres que yo mover la? ¿Cuándo quieres que ir ahí para mover su maletas ahora? And I'm like, what I said was kind of like gibberish, but it was like,
okay.
I can speak Spanish to like my family like that, but like when I'm trying to talk to like my friends, it's English. But when I'm in my head, there's like certain words I don't know the English word for, or like I can't bring it up as fast as the Spanish one. I think like my go-to one is maleta, where like whenever like I'm like going on traveling, I pack my maleta and I bring it over to the fucking airport, and I get my maletas check. I think the English word is suitcase. But it always sounds weird to me, because it's not like when I think of a suitcase, I think of like the box thing that like office users have.
Yeah, I get you.
But like, yeah. But it's like it's like words like that. Like rice is arroz in my head. When I look at a bowl of rice, I think of, oh, that's a bowl of arroz. I see it, and my brain thinks the Spanish word.
I think that's really cool.
Yeah, that's like for a lot of people who grew up in like, with like their native language being like Spanish, but their other language is like something else. They will know the word. They will see it, and if you ask them to, they will tell you what it is in English. But like internally, they will like default to like what it is to them in Spanish.
I think
Maleta means suitcase. Ha, my Spanish lessons are working. Yeah, your girl's learning Spanish slowly. No, that's good. That's good.
I think that's pretty interesting because for me, it's the opposite. There are some Danish words that I don't know, but I know in English. And it is... so when I'm talking English, obviously there's a lot of and like we've been on before, me cussing to translate on the go. But I actually, at this point, I think I'm speaking more fluently English than I am Danish, because hey, for those of you who don't know, I'm also working on a story, and that story is like entirely in English. So when I'm thinking, that is 80% of the time also in English. So it's I think it's really interesting that there is this this contrast, but I also think like so. Also, it's just one of those things where I'm obviously not going to be like that. My my gender is Hispanic or whatever the fuck. Like some of those people who are like really like a weeb, but for other cultures or something. But I don't know what you would call that for Spanish. But I think there's so many words in Spanish that just sounds really nice. Like again, like abuela. I think that's so like for me in my head, there's a difference between a grandma and an abuela.
Yeah,
and I just think it's cool.
It's God, like this like brings back like a really dirty anecdote like I remembered from school. Because it talks about how like it kind of like how languages are actually spoken. The anecdote goes like men should learn Spanish and girls should learn French.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because like French is very like based in the throat. There's a lot of like there's like what fuck with me that I learned about French, like you just flat out don't pronounce like the last letters in certain words, but a lot of it is like a lot of the sounds are like throat sounds, whereas Spanish, it is your tongue is doing all the fucking work for all these words. Like when you're trying to say words like abuela, your tongue is like doing this little wave motion to get that word out, and to like make it sound fluent. It's getting a little spicy, but no, that's basically the point. The reason it sounds like that is how you say those words like physically, and like it's an exercise basically.
You are a sweet summer child, and I love you. That is not necessarily why they say that. No,
I know what it is, but I'm trying to not to mention. I know exactly why.
Okay, so I'm looking it up now.
Okay, do you know how to roll your R's, Lasse?
Of course, I know how to. Okay,
there we go.
So I have a list here in the adult business. French, like when you ask for French, that is oral sex.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said throaty.
And Greek is anal.
Okay.
Norwegian is armpit.
Wow.
Russian is between the thighs. Spanish is between the breasts. Swedish is with the hand. German is hard and advanced. For example, can involve beatings and excrements. American.
So Riona got it.
And oh god, you know the fucking term for that. American is outside of bed, and Danish is missionary. I am offended.
I am offended too. But no, like, okay, so if we're gonna go down to like nitty gritty roots, the reason is why when you're speaking French, you're good with throat, which means you're good at oral sex, putting a dick in there. With like, because you move your tongue so much as a Spanish person, you know how to do cunnilingus. That's what I was trying to allude to, but then we're just going here. So yeah,
this is the webcast relief. We are not sober at all, my good sir.
But no, that's kind of how the joke went in high school.
Yeah, okay. Well, I get that.
Yeah.
But so to circle back, so you do throw in like Spanish words, but like, do you throw in single Spanish words? Like, oh yeah, I'll do that, madre, or like, I don't know Spanish, but like, do you throw in like sentence mostly in English and then maybe throw in a Spanish word every now and again?
Like, okay, when I do that, it's because I don't know the English word, and I don't give a shit, so I just say what it is in Spanish. So, but like in like regular conversation, if I'm like talking to a random stranger on the street, I specifically do not do that.
Well, of course.
Yeah, like, because like it's hard to really explain, but like, it's this thing that was like really obvious in like kids' cartoons. When they want to show somebody knows how to speak Spanish, they will just throw in Spanish words in the middle of their sentence like it's no big deal. Yeah. And that's something what we do when you know somebody, or when you're like talking to somebody who also speaks Spanish, and like you don't have to worry about that. But you would never do that in like a situation where, like, you wouldn't do that. Like, Miles Morales wouldn't go to class and do that. He would do that with his mom all the fucking time. But he wouldn't do that to, like, his fucking roommate in the fucking bedroom or whatever.
No, I get you.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I do that too. It's just, I have to know somebody who's also Spanish. Like, you could do that with Bunny in the chat right now. Yeah, how often do you say puta? A lot. A lot.
Like, the reason why I ask is because like that was actually the thing that like stood out to me, and again, when I'm looking at these things, I typically stop up and go, how much do I actually know about this? Okay, I actually don't really know anything about it, so I take a step back and try and research it. So like when I'm seeing a character like Miles Morales who will like talk English, and then all of a sudden throw in a Spanish word or something, I'm sat there going, is this just something that they do to remind you that he has Hispanic roots, or is it something that Hispanic people do? And so, I come to you.
I will say it is definitely something that Spanish people do, but context is very important for when that happens.
I can imagine.
Yeah, so like when writers usually do this, like less talented writers will just throw that in all the fucking time when it doesn't make sense to. When they're like near all their like English friends, they usually say that as like a way to remind them, "Hey, I speak Spanish. Don't forget."
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, but the way you mentioned it, it was like between Miles Morales and his mom. That's like a perfect example of how it works, like for real. You're not gonna say, "Oh man, I'm gonna go home and get myself some pasteles," which what's funny? That word in like every other language that means cake, but in like Puerto Rican, it's specifically this like weird banana dish that I love so fucking much. But anyway, that's like another thing. Like if you're gonna say it to yourself or say it to your family, you will throw Spanish out of nowhere. But if you're surrounded by a bunch of gringos, you're not going to say any Spanish words to them out of the blue unless you're written by a bad writer.
The thing that stood out to me is like there's a point in the game where you're like, I think Miles is like talking to himself. There's a lot of inner monologue in the game because hey, Marvel. Yeah. And he's like talking about how I think they moved into his grandma's house. It's like, man, this place. I remember how this looked when Abuela lived here. And it's like, Okay, so like just again for me personally, because I like the word abuela, that's like, oh yeah, that makes sense to me. But again, it is still a Spanish word, and he's saying it to himself, so it's like,
No, yeah, that tracks. That's totally right.
Okay. It's because being bilingual is like trying to send the same text message simultaneously in two different phones and in different language.
Yeah, that is basically it.
That's a pretty good analogy, actually.
That is how it is a lot of the time. It's just, yeah. No, you say, you talk.
I was about to move on. So unless you had something to add.
All I'm going to say is like, it sounds to me like the way they're doing Miles Morales in terms of like Spanish representation, it's pretty good. You're not like Miles and Migueling it, or like that one cartoon show that somehow had a crossover with Villainous, which makes me question a lot of things.
With what?
There's this one cartoon show where like the whole premise of the show is like there's these two kids who are like Mexican, and they like walk around in their ponchos, and it kind of makes me feel weird looking at that show. I don't know.
It sounds rough.
It's like they make a big deal about them being like Mexican, culturally appropriate Mexican representation, but then the like, I don't know. There's something about that show that doesn't sit right with me, but I'm like, it's whatever.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't watch it. I wouldn't want to watch it. That's just me.
But so despite
yeah.
Again, I haven't been able to do a whole lot due to my predicament. So so I played that, and then I watched this new series on Netflix. There's all the rage recently. Arcane.
I should have watched it.
You should. So I am going to tell you, Cloudy, as a person who cares about animation.
Yeah.
You need to watch this.
Okay, so all I know about, like, I'm prefacing this, I know nothing about League of Legends. I know
Me
nothing.
neither.
All I heard is, like, the only thing I know about them is that the game is toxic as fuck. But the people who make like the trailers, the music videos, they're like some sort of Korean gods or something.
Yeah, they're god tier. Like, okay, so here's how I always phrased it. I love everything about League of Legends except the game.
Mm-hmm.
And the company, because they're kind of similar to Blizzard.
Yeah.
In their work culture. But as far as I can understand, the people who make the music videos and the trailers and Arcane, for that matter, have nothing to do with the game company, which are the people who are the bad people. The designs of the characters I always think are really, really cool. And the presentation in these music videos or trailers is through the fucking roof. So they have taken all of that and made a series on Netflix with it. It is everything I wanted it to be. So again, I don't know about any of the lore. Bren has been fucking feeding me non-stop info in the way that only Bren can do it, where he's suddenly talking about A and then he'll suddenly talk about K. Like, he is jumping all over the fucking place. It's fucking endearing. But he's been trying to fill me in, and I caught nothing of it. But I know nothing about League of Legends. I will look at a character and go, oh, I think I remember. I know Jinx. I know the chick who's dumb fucking hot with the big metal gloves V. Like, I obviously Lasse likes the hot girl who punches stuff. Who would have thunk it? Like, it. I know very little. So when I sit down and watch this, I'm fully prepared for it to be this obnoxious, annoying fanfare of just like, oh, hey, look, it's this character. And then like they you know, they kind of like they show up and they like smirk at the camera for just a second so the crowd can go woo and then like move on. There is none of that. There is no, oh yes, remember this area that had this history. So it was blah, 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 blah. Like they just like dump lore on you for the sake of being like, hey, we're referencing these things that you could find in the video game or something. There's none of that. This is 100% a show that stands up on its own if you come in completely bare.
I have to imagine like they have to do that because I don't even think the players who play the games competitively even know shit about the actual story itself.
Oh no, no, probably not. But then, like again, if you play this game competitively, and I think there's a character called Yatsuo or something. Like he shows up, and then like he just stands there in front of the camera, and he's never showing up again or something. Like stuff like that you can do to kind of like just like feed the mob a little bit. Like, hey, reference. Like that was basically what the Warcraft movie was like. It was just like, oh, let's go to Dalaran, and then like they show up to Dalaran, and there's fucking like they're there for 5 minutes and then peace out, and it was the most nothing burger in the world. This show is not that. And the fucking crazy thing is that the animation is it like outside of Spider-Verse and anime. It is probably some of the most impressive animation I have ever seen. It is so like everything is fluent, everything is like it has all these little things where the best way I can compare it is, you know how in Ruby, I know it's like I know it's like comparing a thing that is invested $10 billion into and something Monty did because he thought it was fun. Like it's incomparable. But in Ruby, it's like there are like every movement that the characters do is very coordinated. Like it's very they just walk here or they jump here or whatever. In Arcane, it has like sort of the same quality that Pixar has, where you know, they step into this room and they accidentally bump in their foot into a book and the book moves, and it's not like the book is important or anything, but like just this little bit of them bumping into an object and it then moves or something. It really helps selling that the character is in this scene. It grounds them in this sort of reality that they're portraying on screen, and they do that every single fucking time. And by that I don't necessarily mean like they bump into everything, but you always believe that the character is in this scene. There's weight, there's kinetic energy behind everything that they do, and they do this while at the same time both like using this really pretty art style that almost looks like almost painterly, with some really cool designs that are making me think of Dishonored in like this kind of Renaissance steampunk-ish look, and then at the same time they do allow themselves to play around with some effects that you would typically see in their music videos. Like there is a point where the character Echo will fight someone. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but Echo has the power to rewind time like 5 seconds or something. And so as he's about to face off against this person, it turns into this groundy looking like very colorful thing where it's almost looked like crayons are fighting against each other. Like, you know, like, oh, they punch and this big puff of crayon smoke comes out and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, what the fuck is happening? And this bombastic, this almost hip hop music is playing as they're fighting. And then it ends up with him being shot. And then it then like rewinds those 5 seconds, and you see him like click his clock, and it's like, oh, oh, this is what would have happened if he didn't rewind time. So like they managed to put in these things that you can tell that Riot likes to do. These very visually striking, different portrayals of things. They managed to put these in, but in a way where it doesn't become intrusive to just like, oh, we made it purple because fuck it. It's a really, really good show, and like I watched episode 1 fully expecting to not like it, and I ended up binging the entire thing in one day.
Like, you kind of sold me the moment you were explaining how Echo's like powers worked, and I'm poking my friend who has been asking me to watch Arcane with them, because they're actually one of those people who actually give a shit about like LoL lore, and they already seen Arcane, and they've been trying to push me to watch it with them, and I'm like, okay, you win. I'm telling them we're gonna watch it this weekend.
I've been pushing Alice to watch it as well, because it's just really good, and again, the hey, guess what? Lasse's gonna dunk more Warcraft, but it's like it is so insane how again, I know that they're also completely two different mediums, but the Warcraft movie and Arcane here, both things that are like telling the beginning story of each of these different universes. And Warcraft, the movie, by the way, is hands down the worst movie I've ever seen. Yeah. Like, I would rather watch 10 The Rooms and Birdemics than I want to watch the Warcraft, because it's just fucking boring and inconsistent. But in the Warcraft movie, there's a lot of things where they introduce things to get that initial pop off from the audience. Like, they make sure to mention how, in this fight that we orcs have, you must duel against the other person in honorable combat or something like that. And that becomes like a thing where like they do it, I think, twice or something. And then the third fight includes a human and this orc. And by the way, the entire plot of the Warcraft movie is how the orcs and humans first meet. And so of course the human won't know the rules of this, but he somehow does. And it's like, you at this point you can just tell that they included the name of this thing just to be like, hey, you Warcraft nerds, guess what? We included this thing. There's like, it's this play, like, we see Goldshire, and it's like, this doesn't fucking add anything, because none of the fight happens in Goldshire. Why are we here? Why is the king hanging out in Goldshire? It's like they show things just because, hey, you, the fan, you like this, right? Whereas Arcane, it's much more like, we have a fucking story to tell. And yes, we're showing you these pre-established characters. We show you Jinx, we show you V, we show you Jace, I think a dude is called, and Wormdinger. Like, we show characters that are apparently playable in the game, which I found out after the fact. And we see like how these characters deal with different things. We don't get to see them like use the special ability that we know from the game, because we don't need that. What is important here is more like, how did the character get here through the story? Like, I don't need to see V who can do like a big uppercut or something in the game. I don't need her to do the uppercut. But what I need to see is like, oh, this person who's been tormenting her for so long, I need to see her punch the shit out of this dude because of the emotional value that is in this scene. And it's just so interesting how they finally got a fucking video game story right by completely distancing themselves from the fact that it is an established video game, and more play into, we take these elements, these actors, this setting from the video game, and put it into our movie or series and just tell a story through that. And I think that is done spectacularly.
I'm trying to like find my way to like put the way that I feel, because I'm like, what you're making it sound like, it's just like, oh, so they're basically just made a really good prequel of what the actual lore is, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah, that's basically what it is.
yeah, because I'm like that would be like a good way to like escape the whole we have to do all these things, because we're basically just exploring all these backstories in real time now.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't be as kitted out as they are in the actual game. But like we know, we're essentially like learning who they are, getting attached to them, and why they're like this and stuff.
Yeah,
For all we know, this probably could be 1-to-1 to the lore, but like we don't play, so we don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
But like
but the fact is, we can still enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. It is basically like the way you're making it sound. It is very much. It is like the most amazing setup and payoff to what the story is going to be. It is what is like. They're basically just taking the lore they established and like, hey, all this background stuff we talked about, we're probably just, here it is animated, and we're only gonna use everything that makes sense. We will have the fan service, but that fan service is gonna fucking work. And I can appreciate that.
Like apparently there's like small little things like, oh, if you look in the background in one scene, there's a fish skeleton in Jinx's room, which is a reference to how she has a rocket launcher that looks like a fish bone. It's like, oh, okay, that's it.
I feel like if you were like a super fan, you would find way more than what you're noticing.
Absolutely.
Which I can super appreciate. I like my friend who's like really nerdy into like LOL lore is super goddamn down with everything that's happening in Arcane, and the fact that like you who knows fuck all about LOL can super enjoy it, and them who are super ultra fanatic can also enjoy it, means this is a good product for me.
I also want to say real quick, and this is a thing that if someone had told me this sooner, I would have jumped in on this way before I did, and I don't know why, but the show involves like one of those flash forwards where it's like, oh yeah, this thing happened, by the way, 3 years later. And then you see like the characters grown up and like change and stuff. I always love that in things. And the fact that they put it in a show like this is just like, okay. Like after episode 4, there's a flash forward of like a few years. And it's just, oh, okay, I see you.
We're gonna have a time skip in the middle of a 12 episode. Okay.
It's 9 episodes actually.
Oh, or 9 episode thing. Okay.
But yeah, really good show. Big recommend from here, especially you, Claudia, because you like animations.
I do. Hang on, I'm just gonna like poke them and be like, hey, you wanna watch Arcane this weekend?
While you do that, that of course ties into the fact that they have announced a new, re-announced the new League of Legends fighting game, which I'm obviously big excited for, is also being spearheaded by some real pros in the fighting game community. That has obviously also lifted the veil for people who don't play fighting games to suddenly look at fighting games, and there are some interesting hot takes. Yeah. But that reminded me of, I don't recall, like there's been a lot of different fighting games that has either have news or something come out. And I remember you and I, we briefly talked about something where, actually, hold on, let me fire out Discord real quick, just because it was about how something got announced. Oh yeah, it was about how Naruto is in Fortnite now. And then
I may be out of chakra, but I ain't out of options.
yeah. And then the official Ruby Twitter account tweets out of the most passive aggressive picture of Blake just I'm like, where's my invite? It's like, calm the fuck down, bro.
Anything that makes the current creators of Ruby angry makes me smile.
Like, you're in a fucking fighting game versus Persona and Blaze Blue. Like,
oh yeah,
like you done made it, bro. Don't be fucking salty that you're not in Fortnite.
No, they want that sweet Fortnite money. Fuck them. Listen, like the sprites they actually had, like the fucking Arxis had to make for Ruby. They're really pretty. They went through the effort of actually making new shit for them to be in the game. That is more than I could have ever asked for. But they're like, no, I want my Fortnite money.
Yang was so fucking cool in that game. Like, she had the cool punching rushdown shit. It was the best.
She was always the mainstay in all my teams, specifically so I burn plays and my opponent just fucking leaves the fucking match.
I wish that game was good.
I wish, I really wish it was more polished than it actually was.
Yeah.
But you know what? Like even then, you could say I've had fun in cross tag. I will fucking die on that hill. But like, it is really fucking weird to like see Naruto do his hand signs and then pull out a fucking AK.
Oh, you saw the one too where he like lands on the roof and there's like a fucking turkey or something walking by and like, the horse handstand thing, and then gun. No,
the best part is because like the music's playing as he's doing the hand signs, and then the music cuts off.
Yeah,
he pulls out a gun and he starts shooting.
Have you fucking seen the one, like the image of Rick from Rick and Morty, fireman carrying Kakashi, and it's a real screenshot from the, like, this is like, someone showed a screenshot of that game where they have Kakashi, Master Chief, and Rick from Rick and Morty standing in the lobby. And it's like, if you had fucking shown me this picture 2 years ago, I would have called it Photoshopped.
I would have called it Gmod at that point.
Yeah, like, it is fucking nuts.
Honestly, Fortnite's the most ambitious crossover game in the history of the world because of all the shit. Oh, you can have Kakashi get his ass beat by Ariana Grande.
And have Ariana Grande do the dance from fucking Scrubs afterwards. Like, what in the fuck?
But then Thanos doing like the fucking booty crumble, doing the dance while snapping the finger.
Yeah, and then what the fuck? That hip hop artist who had a show where people got stabbed to death. What the fuck is his name?
Squid Game?
No. There's an actual thing that happened. There's this rapper who was big, who had like some crossover. Like, he did a concert through Fortnite at one point, and then recently he had a concert in real life where
XXX Tension, I think.
No.
X9 something.
No. This is an Afro-American fella. But yeah, and then like people die. Like, they cut him from the game after that. So, but it's just like, how the fuck do you put in all this shit in like this one game? I find like, after saying that, I can sort of get behind why Ruby is like, okay, you can have Ariana Grande have a fucking fight against Master Chief, Thanos, Rick, and Kakashi, but you can't have Yang in there? Like, what the fuck?
It's like, I know a lot of it is like they have more money than God at this point, so they can just buy the licenses to all this bullshit.
That's true.
But at the same time, it is just beautifully petty that like Ruby is not getting put in there.
Yeah.
Specifically because I don't like the showrunners, but that's just me.
Speaking of Ruby, just because I feel like I've talked a lot, I could tell in the Wild West Discord that apparently there's been some kind of new thing where the dragons or gods or something have made some sort of revelation, and it's the worst thing ever.
Oh no, it's not new. This shit happened in like Volume 5. It's just like Raj was reminded of it, and I just had to point out how stupid the whole thing is.
Can you explain it to me? Like, set the scene.
So this is old. This happens like in between Volume 4 and Volume 5. So this is well after the actual creator of the show died.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Monty.
Rest in peace, Montiel. So I left during Volume 4 and came back just on the side to like catch up to like Volume 6, and they do a lot of retconning after Monty died. Not only just the mechanics just of the story, like, we don't like where you were going to go with the story, so we're going to go our own way. And the way they go is like, so there are gods who ruined everything. Instead of like, hello garbage truck. Sorry. I'm trying to like find the words for this because it's so migratingly stupid, but long ago when magic was still a fucking thing, there's this one lady who was trapped in a tower who got really piss antsy that her husband died. So she goes up to the gods. She goes up to one god and he says, "I'm not bringing your boyfriend back to life." So she goes up to the little brother god and he's like, "Yeah, I'll bring your boyfriend back to life." And everything's all happy. But then the older brother's like, "Hey, I already told her no, so you can't fucking bring her back." So they go through this little bickering thing where they continually they kill their boyfriend and then bring him back to life, back and forth all the time. Like, it's these fucking omnipotent gods having a child, brotherly quarrel. And then the girl is so pissed, she unites all of humanity to fight against the gods, and the gods Thanos snaps them out of existence, except for the girl who organized this whole thing. And their punishment to this girl was like, "Oh yeah, so we're just gonna make you immortal and live alone on the planet, bye." And then they fucking leave, and then on their way out, they accidentally crash through the moon. And that is how they explain why the moon is shattered. Because of these stupid fucking gods.
So wait, she gets cursed with eternal life for, "Hey, wanna help my boyfriend?"
Yeah.
Really? That's it?
Yeah. And they make this whole really dumb plot line about her being suicidal and she tries everything to kill herself, blah blah blah. So they remove all magic from the world. They remove all gods from the world, but she still has her magic, and for some fucking reason they left the giant evil pool of darkness that the little brother was sitting in this entire time. So she walks all the way across the earth to jump into this evil pool, and it doesn't fucking kill her, except just gives her all the evil magic that her brother had left behind. For no fucking reason. So not only is she immortal, she also is now a god. On top of this. And instead of the brothers, super god gods, "Hey, we should do something." The boyfriend who they killed 20 times and brought back to life 20 times in the span of 10 seconds. "Hey, your girlfriend's acting up. Go tell her how to do things." What? Bro, I'm in the afterlife. Why is this my problem? "Oh yeah, by the way, here are these 4 legendary magical items that are super powerful. And if you bring them all together, me and my brother are going to come back and judge the planet. And if we don't like what we see, we're going to nuke all of you anyway."
I'm fortunate that there's 4 people on the Ruby team.
So I haven't seen the latest 2 volumes of Ruby. Supposedly they only have 2 writers, and then they got a third. And I've been told the latest season is the worst volume of Ruby they've ever had. So actively, when they got another writer to proofread their work, it only got worse.
there's a parallel here to be made with Les Linders, where it's like too many cooks in the kitchen spoil the broth.
Oh yeah. So like, it's not even like the Las Lindas issue was because like a lot of things were inconsistent, dropped and shit. Yeah. No, like the last season was just really mean-spirited and awful, and they kept dick riding the one character nobody wanted to be Dick Roden. That came out really stupid. But like, okay, so in RWBY, who do you think is the main character?
Ruby?
No, it's John Arc. Stupid. Why do you think the girls
the
whose name make... Yes, the Nothing Burger. You know, the entire show who's named after it, and the girl who's named after the show. She's not the main character. She's not important enough. No, it's the little blonde guy whose girlfriend died off screen when she really didn't have to die.
The intro song to RWBY is Red Like Roses.
Yeah, no, Lasse, you're stupid. No, it's John's the main character. He gets to have all the cool moments. Everyone else gets off screen and thrown into a crevasse.
Isn't John's entire thing similar to? Okay, this is the weirdest comparison. I don't even know if like you saw the show when you were a kid. Do you remember that fucking live action show with the witches Bewitched or whatever the fuck?
Oh, barely. I remember it
Charmed or something.
Yeah.
And they had like the boyfriend Angel who was an angel. Like, isn't that just what John was? Like he was just like the guy who had powers, but ultimately was just there to be the partner of one of the main protagonists.
It was like that. Only he became the main focus, because suddenly he gets to have all the character arc. And like, there's ways where I could be okay with that, and there's avenues that you could have taken to make it okay. It's just, he always does it to like step in the way of all the other characters that I actually give a shit about. Like, okay, there's this girl named Penny who's like a robot who's super important because she has a soul. And I think in like the last volume she actually became one of the maidens who was like super big powerful girl keys, whatever. She has magic. Point is, Penny becomes super important, super strong, and really useful. And then the entirety of the last volume is just her asking to be murdered so her powers go to someone else, and then John going through with the murder.
Thanks, John.
And the murder backfires anyway, and the powers go to someone not intended.
Fucking John.
It's like one step forward and a double backflip back. That is this show. And I'm like, this shit was so much better when it was literally kids in a lunchroom punching each other with like food.
We have made the comparison before, but it bears repeating that everything good and wrong about the show can be summed up with the dude with the katana. Where when you first see it, he's just dude with a katana. He's cool. He does the virtual shit, and that is literally everything. And then they do the bad thing and put a personality, quote unquote, onto him, and it's the worst fucking thing that's ever happened. And now he's suddenly like super, like, quote unquote, problematic and all this fucking shit. It's like, just leave him as the cool guy with the sword. You don't need more than that.
And so, like, it's that one always hurts me the most, because like, the reason he wears the full cool fucking mask is because he literally has one of the characters' last names branded over his fucking eyes.
Yeah, I remember you said that in one of our early episodes. And it's...
Yeah. And he never has a single interaction with them.
It's again, Monty liked his fight scenes. And he was fucking good at them. The scene in Red vs. Blue where Tex fights the entire crew is the best thing that has ever happened to that show. and that was just Monty getting free reins of something, and it just showed how creative and passionate he was about this entire thing. And Ruby was supposed to be an extension of that, where he could just go nuts with cool weapons, cool abilities, cool design characters. And then he died, and then it got taken over by someone who then wanted to use this as a vehicle to tell their story that was never supposed to be told this way in the first place. That's the impression I've gotten.
Yeah, that's basically my biggest issues with all of this. It's just
wasn't that
wasn't
that the same thing that happened to Homestuck in a sense, where it was supposed to be this one thing first, and then the post-canon stuff happened, and now it became a whole fucking thing about telling a story about gender identity or something like that?
It's basically like it goes a little bit more than just character identity. Like a lot of it is just, hey, you know, all these things that we wrote, that we like planned over like literally to 8,000 pages about, we're just gonna throw it all away and do our own thing, and you're gonna like it. It's just, you had all the materials right there, and you fucking yeet, and you expect us to like this new shit.
It's one of those things where it reminds me of. Did you ever hear about the dude who was fucking insistent that Silent Hill 4 was all about foreskin?
Yeah.
And like it's one of those things where how you have a thing that is like it is its own thing, and it's like it is working perfectly fine as this one thing, and then a dude, fortunately in the Silent Hill case, this was just an audience member, but like in the case with Homestuck and Ruby, it feels more like this person in question was a person who actually had the ability to create within this medium, who has this completely different idea of what the media is actually about and supposed to tell, and they make a huge fucking thing out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Ruby is the foreskin man.
Ruby is foreskin man, yes.
Yeah.
It's if foreskin man had his way.
Yeah.
Like it is the epitome of everything. All the pieces there. I can see the potential of what this show had. I can see what could have been. I love it for everything that it has, but what it actually is fucking dog shit.
Yeah, of course you saw the potential, because it was in volume 1 and 2.
Yeah. I'll even say I wasn't mad about the majority of volume 3 either. Like, I thought that was pretty, like, a lot of the shit that went down was dumb and contrived, but you know what? The fights were still pretty cool. At least partially.
Yeah, you know the fucking scene in volume 2, I think it's at the end of it, where they play the song Caffeine, and it's just characters beating the shit out of people. Like, yeah, that's the potential of fucking Ruby. Like, it's cool action with cool characters. That was it. Like,
that's all you had to do.
Yeah.
And you fucked it up because you wanna dick ride John some more.
The most nothing burger ever.
Okay, like I will continue my John slander another day, but like I keep mentioning, there's like one really well written scene in volume 2 of Ruby, and I've talked about this at length before. But it's just like, if you wanted a good story, you could have had it. You could have had it all. You just had to fucking try. And they didn't even try. That's what gets to me.
It's depressing.
But yeah, I'm gonna watch Arcane because I want to see what happens when everyone on the team actually likes what they're doing and they're gonna try.
That is a good way to go about it, I think.
Because like, it's, as much as I love these things, as much as I love like shows that have like potential that just botch the execution, I want, like, it's good and it's healthy to watch what good execution looks like, because people do have passion, and sometimes, if we're lucky, shit won't get in the way, and people who want to do this shit will make the shit they want.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have much else to say.
No,
I'm just I really want to see Arcane.
Yeah, well, please do. I know two fantastic animators. You are one of them, and Hugo is another one. And I've been pushing Hugo to also watch it. So see this as my if nothing else than from an animator standpoint, I think it would really hit home. But I'm looking at the time now. So you and I, we had a little discussion before we started the podcast today. Because a lot of stuff has changed since we started the podcast, including work and stuff. So we have decided that going forward, at least for now, again, all of this is subject to change as we're still in the beginning times of this podcast. So we're still testing the waters in there. But going forward, we will try and host the podcast an hour later. Just because, as it was before, I kind of stepped over some toes in terms of planning and scheduling and all this stuff. So we will be hosting the podcast an hour later going forward. And we will probably not have 2 hour long podcasts. Unless it's about a subject that we really care about, because I have to fucking eat. But so yeah, that's the plan going forward. So don't worry if we are not there at the same time as usual, we will be popping up an hour later. So don't worry. We're just doing this so that the main thing about this podcast is that we're just basically trying to make it so that it is fun to do and doesn't step into things where it's it becomes a job or anything, because it doesn't pay the bills, and it's we need to pay the bills, so we need to keep making it fun, and in this case, for that to happen, we need to just postpone it a little bit. So this is your little PSA. We should probably have started the podcast off with that, but as is the norm of these podcasts, we just talk at length and then end up somewhere completely different.
We probably should workshop some structure into these, come in with at least one topic. But you know what? It's fine. I think we've been doing okay so far, and coming into the next year, we'll probably be a lot more professional about this. I
know one thing I want. And this is probably going to be mostly a stream thing or a YouTube thing, because it'll be a lot of visual aid. But I would like one day to go and have a sit down with you where we just talk about the difference in in terms of designs. I want to talk about the difference between Guilty Gear Xrd and Strive, and how they did their designs, and go and compare that to Overwatch 1 and 2. I think that
that's going to be a lot of research, but you know what? I want to do that because that does sound amazing.
Well, so the way that I'm basically thinking of just doing it is just bringing up 2 images on screen and then talk about it, and then talk, and then we have one of Guilty Gear, one of Overwatch, and yada yada yada. I just think, because that, I think that is something that I feel we would both be interested in talking about, and it would also just be a thing that could help artists in general, which is our main audience.
I actually think in the tips and tutorials section of our server, I actually got some Japanese PDFs and some translators to they were actually the design documents for Xrd. From the actual artists who made the game themselves.
So geniuses, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I actually have to look through them and see if I can find a way to translate them, but I think that would be good to bring up, because we do have actual documentation for what was going through their minds and how they were animating this shit, and I want to bring it up. Because if we're going to do that, we're going to do a good shit.
It's just because there's definitely something to be talked about how I personally feel the Guilty Gear between Exit and the Glow Up to Strive, like they did it right, whereas Overwatch is just insulting, kind of.
It is lazy.
Yeah.
It is just. I do not again after the whole Blitzchung thing. I've deleted all my like battle pass shit, so I don't know what's going on over there. But from what I've seen, they are the like aside from like made some different lighting and shaders, they've made almost no changes.
Yeah.
Aside from things that are very superficial and maybe some mechanical stuff, but like it is just like Soul Bad Guy and Zerd and Soul Bad Guy and Strife. Woof. But like Tracer in Overwatch 1, Tracer Overwatch 2, it's like
I almost feel, and again we'll probably get more into it when we actually like have the episode, but I almost feel that they wouldn't have gotten as much like teasing if they didn't promote the changes. If they just said, "Oh, we updated their looks a little bit," and that's it. But the fact of the matter is that they've been like making big fanfares, like check out this new skin, or check out how Sombra looks now, and it's just like she looks the exact same. If they had just said we've updated the visuals and left it at that, and then maybe made the changes that they have now, I don't think they would have been ridiculed as much.
Hell, I would have been happy if they said, hey, this is a work in progress. Look how good the fidelity is. Even then, I would have been, okay, whatever. Maybe these aren't the final designs. No, these are the final designs. You know what we did? We're going to remove some of the bits of their original design, and they look a little sleeker. Maybe change the colors a bit.
But
that is how they...
The fact of the matter is that on their website, they even have a fucking slider to do like the before and after thing. And it's like, don't fucking do that unless it's an improvement on all fronts. We saw how that went when Cowboy Bebop on Netflix did it. I was like, hey, we did this scene. Yeah, worse in every fucking thinkable way.
That whole adaptation hurts me. And it makes me afraid of, like, when the One Piece live action drops, I'm going to have a lot of words about that. Like, this is what I'm going to say about Cowboy Bebop. Watching that is pain. It is actual physical pain to sit through.
I saw someone, he kind of like made a tweet longer, but I think it was very poignant, which was a lot of people when they see Cowboy Bebop, when they initially see it, it's like some people think that what makes Cowboy Bebop cool is the animation and the action. And some people like it because it has a lot of like existential stuff and cerebral stuff, like about being a person and coming to terms with stuff and stuff like that. And when you then see the Cowboy Bebop Netflix series, they went too much in, like they were the people who only saw this and only saw the action angle. And the thing about Cowboy Bebop is that even if you don't appreciate, know, or notice the cerebral thing about the anime, it was still there and was what lent a lot to what made Cowboy Bebop good. Mm-hmm. And with the Netflix adaptation, we see what happens if what you liked about Cowboy Bebop was only the action. Because like in a scene that they presented in the that Netflix's Cowboy Bebop show was the one where Spike and Vicious fight in front of the
chapel.
Yeah, the chapel. And in the anime, it's like Spike tries to shoot Vicious. Vicious blocks the gun with his sword. He shoves the sword through the thing where you have your finger, and he like flicks it away, kind of thing. And then he puts his sword to Spike's face or throat. That's the entire scene. But in the Netflix show, they're having like a full-on fucking fight. And it's like, that's not what that scene was about. It wasn't about how these two fought. It's about the emotional thing between them. And that's what was lost in this thing. I haven't seen the show. I've only seen this clip. But I from what I can understand, that is the running theme among through the entire show.
It misses the point. It definitely, like, here's the thing that like hurts me with Cowboy Bebop. If you were gonna adapt any anime into live action, that one was like the one show that was like so easy to adapt compared to like fucking anything else. Because it was made, and it was actually like, if you look at the cinematography, it was shot not like an anime. It was shot like it was a goddamn like a cowboy western bullshit. It was like all the blueprints were there to like make it work. If anybody who knew what they were doing with like actual cinematography, who knew anything about like conveying emotion, like Cowboy Bebop tried so hard to like hit that feeling if you were watching like a real life movie, like a real life live action action show. Like it was trying to emulate that, but like when the live action was trying to emulate it from like it purely as an anime, it just missed the mark entirely. They thought they saw everything superfluously, not like what made it good.
Yeah.
Down to the techniques.
There's a in the last thing I'm gonna say about this, then we will have to go into the emails. But I saw someone who legit like did a side-by-side comparison and then like had notes about like, this is why it worked in the anime, this is why it didn't work in live action. And a thing that I noticed is that when Spike initially gets sent through the chapel window, there's like this really actually pretty long scene of just like la 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 la, like where the music, and you just see him fall down, and there's a bunch of flashbacks, and you see close up of Spike's face where he almost just looks like tired or sad, whereas in the show he's looking like panicking and his arms are waving, and it's in the show that scene is actually pretty short. Like he falls for like almost half of the length that the anime has, and I think that like that also showed like a thing where it's the Netflix show didn't feel I'm gonna say brave or comfortable enough to let a shot linger. It feels like they were a little like nervous that people are gonna get worried. Whereas in the anime, it felt more like we are like, I don't care if people think this is going on too long because we have something to tell with this. And it also just shows that in the anime, they like with Spike falling out of that window, where he's essentially been betrayed by his love and his friends and all this stuff. Like things are not going his way, and he just looks tired as he's falling out instead of like worried or something. It tells you a lot about the state of mind that Spike is, where he's just looking like dejected from life. Like, why should I even like flail my arms around to look worried that I'm about to die? Because I have basically already had my life ripped away right now, but being betrayed like this. And it's like that adds so, and of course this is before the events of the Cowboy Bebop series starts. So when you have this knowledge and you then later see Spike do whatever the fuck, when he's like being cocky or anything like that, or anything that he says, when you have seen the man this dejected and like forfeit, like he's given up on life or something, it adds another level to it, and you can start like looking into the meaning of the way he says things or the things that he says. But when you just have Spike got thrown out the window, and then later it adds nothing. It doesn't have that depth, that thing that makes Spike more than just a cool guy who does roundhouse kicks and wants a girl to beat him up and wears a weird jacket and going, bitch, do I look like I got any money? Like, like that. I think there's a lot of nuances that just like people don't respect anymore.
They don't. It's that thing always where, hey, live action will be better just because it's live action. Who needs anime? Anime is for dumb kiddies. It's always how it's always been like that in the industry. That we are always subservient to live action because of this weird stigma. And then when it comes to pass and you put them side to side, you always see time and time again why live action doesn't fucking work.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say like one last thing about the cowboy, then we're gonna move on. I promise the last one.
Yeah, sure.
I forget his name. Like the big man. The
Jet.
They made him black. They made him black only because they had a line where he's talking to this lady and they're making innuendo about him being black. Like, oh, you're gonna fuck me, yeah, because you're... I forget what the line was exactly, but it was a really in poor taste, and I'm like, you changed his fucking race just for that line? You're disgusting. It was like this weird innuendo. I'll try to find the link later, but it was kind of disgusting.
I almost think that they did that just so they could have like the big three. Like, oh, we have... no, actually, isn't the dude who plays Spike Asian?
Yeah, he's Asian.
And how about the I forget what the girl's name.
I think I think Faye is white. I don't remember.
Because you know that could totally be it. Like they wanted the big three, like a white, an Asian, and a black person.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's just the more I hear about it, the more awful it is.
Yeah. But if someone had anything awful that they wanted to send to us so we could talk about, where would they write such an awful letter? They
could send their awful letters to webcastrelief@gmail.com.
So if you wanted to talk about how you want Jet's big black cock, you can do so at webcastrelief@gmail.com.
That is correct.
Okay.
All right. We're going to choose a hopefully short one. We have a question from Why Not today.
Oh.
And they ask, you have the option to copy any holiday into any season of your choosing. It can be any holiday, regardless if it's international or not. No matter how obscure it is or how dumb it is, what holiday would you choose? God help you if you choose Christmas. So, take a holiday in the year, and you can have another holiday of it at any other time of the year. So you can put Christmas literally in July.
Oh, because okay, so I was like thinking that you can take any holiday or any festivity and introduce it into your daily life. Because I always what is it that again we come back to the whole Hispanic thing. Do you not have like quinceañera or something?
Quinceañeras are like when a girl turns 15.
Yeah, I would love to try and like attend one of those. Or there's also that one where you celebrate death with the sugar skulls and all.
Dia de los Muertos.
Yeah, I want that, and then like put it during the summer or something. I think that would be fucking cool. I've never tried that, and it looks so cool.
So like the other ones from those is like specifically a Mexican thing. Oh. I know somebody's asked me if I celebrated before, and I wasn't really offended. Although like I'm gonna talk about this later, but like Dia de los Muertos, it is specifically like it is very important in Mexican tradition, specifically Mexican, because it's like about family and like honoring those who came before you. Like you're like helping their spirits pass on. They are super into that stuff.
It looks so cool.
Like, I have an El Salvadorian thing where they kind of had Dia de los Muertos, but they treat it more like how we treat Thanksgiving in America, where it's literally just a food thing. And like Puerto Rico doesn't celebrate that at all.
Okay.
Yeah. So like honestly, if I could have, I would actually almost say that as well. I would actually have Dia de los Muertos like somewhere else in the world, or like somewhere like maybe during the summer, just because like that's something I would honestly be really into. It's not a part of my culture, but I do honestly think it's really fucking cool.
So again, white guy from Denmark speaking here. There's a lot of different cultures and stuff that I think is really interesting and I would love to celebrate. But I can also understand that there are different cultures who are like, hey, no, this isn't for you. And I respect that. But I was still like to be there with you and celebrate the thing. Like I'm not doing it and again, like I don't know how this comes across, and I'm sorry if it's offensive to anyone, but it's like I'm not doing it to steal your holiday or anything special. I'm doing it because I want to celebrate with you, not instead of you, if that makes any sense.
You know, I'm gonna be honest with you. The ones who try to gatekeep somebody's like culture, they're the actual racist ones, in my experience. If you run into a person and they say no, you can't celebrate it, chances are they're actually more racist than you think than trying to call you racist for that. I had this person who tried to ask me about Dia de los Muertos, and I tried to give him everything I knew. And then when I told him, "Oh, do you celebrate it because you're Mexican?" and I told them, "I'm not Mexican. I'm half El Salvadorian and I'm half Puerto Rican." But I know about this because I have friends who are Mexican and I celebrated with them. And they told me I wasn't allowed to talk about it because I wasn't actually Mexican. And then they went on doing their old weird racist version of Dia de los Muertos. And I'm like, first off, fuck you. And second off, if you're gonna gatekeep somebody's religion or someone's like cultural festivities, even if it's not your own, you're probably way more racist than the person you're trying to stop. So I would say, like, I'm not saying this as like a Mexican, but I'm saying this as like a Hispanic in general. We would feel honored if you took our festivities and did your best to, like, you know, celebrate them as they should be.
Yeah.
Because that's a very wonderful thing. We're not the type to gatekeep you. People who gatekeep are actual fucking racists. That's what I'm trying to say.
I've always had this thing where I would love to, like, if I had fuck you money, right? I would travel all across the world and I would try and take part in all these customs of different cultures and stuff like that, because I think they're so exciting and so interesting. Like, I want to go to some Arabian place and try some of their food and spend one of their holidays together with them, just to see, what do you do? Why are you doing this? I remember when I worked in a restaurant, they had a guy, and I'm going to be very careful here because I don't want to be offensive, but he did that thing where you pray to Mecca, and I remember I had to go into the back room to change my clothes, and I come in and he's doing it, you know, with the carpet facing towards Mecca, and he's like doing that, and it was one of those things. I almost got emotional because it looked so beautiful. Like, he was so in there. He really like did everything to like prim and proper. I can only imagine. I don't know anything about it. I've also talked with Raj a bunch of times, like, okay, what do you do? What is this food and all this stuff? Like, I want to celebrate these things with people because I want to celebrate how different we are, but at the same time, how similar we are. So, like, I want to do a fucking Maui haka. I wanna go to Japan and celebrate the fucking when the sakura flowers blossom thing festivals.
Yeah.
Some of the summer festivals there. I want to go to the Night of the Dead with the Mexicans. I don't just want to go there to get shit faced and woo or party, whatever. I want to do all of it. I want, and it's such small, minute things. I want to go to, like, a Southern Sunday, you know, go to a church with a black pastor where he's doing the hallelujah and people are dancing and clapping and all this stuff, and then I want to go to the barbecue afterwards. Like, I want to experience what people, the customs and the things that they adore, and share in that love.
You are every racist nightmare and every ethnic person's best friend. Oh, that is such a that is like a really heartwarming statement, and I just have like the biggest smile on my face. But you should honestly, like, I guarantee you, like, for the people who actually matter, they won't turn you away. They're gonna like invite you into those things, and they will welcome you with open arms, because that's just a wonderful thing to do.
And one is writing it in the chat. Thanksgiving. We don't have that in Denmark. I want to try Thanksgiving. I want to sit around the big table. I want to have your mashed potatoes and your turkey with all the fucking gravy and all this shit that I've seen on TV since I was a wee little baby. I want to go to Ireland. I want to try the deep fried cookie dough or whatever the fuck they're having. I want to try all these things, but. As you said, there are these people who are like, oh, this is ours, you can't touch this. And one of the tattoos that I've, for the longest time, thought about getting, I want a sugar skull. I think sugar skulls are fucking beautiful. And I think they are perfectly encapsulating, at least from the understanding that I have of what a sugar skull is, just a big, smiling face with colors and all this. Like, I feel, that's me. Big smile, colorful personality. Oh, I want this, you know? Like, but then again, I would have something branded on me where some people might get offended, and then, you know.
Well, fuck them, they're racist. Who gives a shit what they think?
But, you know, I don't want to step away any toes.
I don't do it. I'd step over their necks if I could. Fuck them. They're bad people. But yeah, no, like, this is definitely the question I should have asked, because I'm the one who looks like an asshole this time. Because I'm like, you know, like, my family doesn't do it. I'd be cool. I'd want to try it at least once. You actually have, like, this big impassioned, like, for all these cultures, and I'm like, wow, Lasse, you're fucking amazing.
Oh, shut up.
But no, like, yeah, Dia de los Muertos, that'd be fucking amazing. Do it.
Also, I don't know how, like, if she's even attached to it, but that the picture, the statue, at least I've seen of the, I think is Santa Muerte, like the lady with the skull face, and she's like, I think she also has a side for something, like she's draped in a cloak or something, and she has the skull face. She looks so fucking cool, bro.
Yeah, she is.
She's so fucking
Imagine
cool.
being escorted to death by that. I'm like, oh.
You know what? Okay. Fucking fine. You take me.
I'm good. Take here. Let me hold your hand.
Oh, there's also this picture. I have it somewhere. I gotta send it to you at some point. I also think I have, actually. But it's where, a chick is in, like, full Santa Muerte getup. And she's, like, standing with a horse or something. And I even think she's holding a rifle or something. She's so beautiful. There's all these vibrant colors. And she has, like, the skull painted on her face. Oh, she looks so fucking good. Every culture is so much more interesting than the Danish culture. But, like, okay, I think I've told this story to you personally before. But have I ever told you about the Night of Morten that we have in Denmark?
What's the Night of Morten?
Okay, so
I'm talking to the chat, of course.
Okay, so Morten is a Danish name, and so during the Night of Morten, it's a yearly thing. I don't actually recall when it actually takes place, but it is custom that you go and eat duck, and then potatoes or whatever the fuck. And the reason for this holiday is the most fucking retarded Danish thing I've ever fucking heard. Because I looked it up. So there was this duke, or whatever the fuck. He was supposed to be some sort of Viscount or something. Like, he was supposed to be like some sort of holy dude. But he did not fucking want that. And then someday, these people from the church, they come and they knock on his door. And like he looks out the window and he's, oh fuck, they're here to get me to become this religious figure, whatever the fuck. I don't want this. And the dude is Morten, by the way. And so he dives out of the back door into the chicken coop and tries to hide there. But the chicken or ducks or whatever get so fucking like agitated by this dude who just fucking dived in there wearing only his boxers that they're like, hey, this, like, they you know, like, they start quacking, they start flipping the fuck out. So of course these holy dudes, they come around and they check out the chicken duck coop, and they find Morten laying there in the mud in his boxers, and they're like, okay, get up, you're going to church. And he became this royal dude or whatever. I don't recall the exact title, but since then he was like, okay, do I have the power to make a holiday? Absolutely, sir. All right. I want this day to be known as Morten's Night. And every night we eat ducks, because fuck these cunts for giving me away.
Okay, that's stupid, but that's amazingly petty. I love it. I love that there's a holiday specifically to spite ducks.
So you have that.
Birthday.
You have that, and then you have, oh yeah, we celebrate, you know, death and the history of the people coming before us, and then we do so with colorful masks and all this stuff. And it's like, there's nothing exciting about that. This is, like, about the Danish thing. There's exciting things about all these other different cultures.
You know, I'm changing my... No, I actually disagree with you. I am actually changing my pick. I want Morten's Night to be on my birthday. Because there is... I can respect the amount of fucking petty you have to indict an entire species of animal just because one fucked you over.
Yeah.
That is the most human fucking thing I've ever heard of in my entire life.
A holiday made out of spite.
It's beautiful. I said couldn't hang out that night because of that, and I was annoyed because I thought he was making shit up to avoid hanging out.
Yeah, and then I had to fucking link her a Wikipedia entry where she could read about it, and it's just like, no fucking way, you just wrote that.
You just wrote that.
And like when I'm saying it now, I'm sure that some people are gonna be like, oh, you're making it up. No, it's a fucking thing.
Listen, I completely believe you, because like, if I put my... what if I were Morten in this situation? If I dove into a duck house and I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up. Fine, I guess I'm going... I'm forced to be like the Archpope or some shit. Alright, do I have the power to make a holiday since I have to go through this shit? Alright, this is gonna be Fuck Duck Day. We're not gonna fuck them, we're gonna eat them.
I'm just imagining like he's diving into this duck coop, and there's just like, all these ducks and chicken, and they look at him and they all get the exclamation mark from Metal Gear and just say, wing, wing, wing.
It's like, no. We eat nothing but ducks, cause fuck them. Oh, I love it. I love this so much. This was a good question. Thank you, Why Not?
Yeah, that was like, how the hell do you even come up with that? That is so unique and different. I love it, but don't get me wrong.
We got a bunch of questions, but we can probably save that for next time.
Yeah, we're running a little late, and I have food coming in like 25 minutes or something.
All right. Bye, everybody. Thanks for a great time. We'll be here next time around 11 a.m. EST, whatever the fuck it is in Denmark.
17 CET, I think it is. I don't fucking know. An hour later than normal, where Cloudy is going to tell us about his exploits with his computer, and hopefully Del May Cry, and
Arcane. I got a lot of shit to do. Dude, but you know what? It's fine.
Dude, on the real, I don't want you to wait until next podcast. You let me know live over Discord in messages what you're thinking when watching Arcane.
Okie dokie.
I want live updates.
I'll give you live updates and I'll be your script.
Fucking perfect.
Alright. Bye, everybody!
Bye!